A mistake is just a great opportunity to learn. If you make a mistake, that means we can work on something. If you're perfect, what are you going to work on, right? So, and there's nobody perfect. Even Connor McDavid is not perfect. So,
what's going on, guys? This is Braden from Advancement Hockey Advising here, and today, boy, do we have a special treat for you. We've got NHL Legend JS Giguere here on board. Basically, for those of you who don't know, I know most of you will recognize the name, but this guy is a goalie that's played for different teams in the NHL. It's really crushed it. He's honestly like legendary status in terms of goalies in the NHL. One of the best of all time, honestly. He's really, done well, and we have the privilege here of having him today on our channel here for you guys to see, dive into, that elite of a goalie's mindset. And he's got a lot of good gold nuggets of wisdom to give you guys here. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the interview. If you like having these kind of guests on, absolutely destroy that like button. It takes us a quick sec and it lets us know that you guys like this content. If you're new here and you want to see more interviews like these, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. All right, guys, without further ado, let's dive right into the interview here with JS Giguere. All right, so JS, glad to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. So let's dive right in here. So I'm sure most people recognize your name, but for those of them who don't know you, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself and your hockey background?
Well, my name is JS Giguere. I'm from Montreal, Quebec. I was actually born in Laval, just north of Montreal, and started playing. I'm the youngest kid of five. We all played, my two brothers and my two sisters all played hockey, or ringette eventually for my sisters. And we all played at a very high caliber, sports. My brother got drafted by the Leafs when he was younger. And obviously, so I was almost born with skates in my feet, and being the youngest of five, you kind of naturally are put into nets because they need a goalie to shoot at. So kind of that's how it started for me, and but I really enjoyed the position. So at the very early age of five, I started playing goalie and never looked back.
How important do you think it was to have those, like your other brothers there with you to help compete and everything?
Well, it was fun because you always had somebody to play with, and obviously hockey was big in our family, and whether we played street hockey at the park in the winter and stuff like that, it was always very important for our family, for my parents as well. It was important for us to just play sports. In the summer would be baseball and winter hockey. Obviously, my brother that got drafted, he was a huge role model for me. I wanted to be just like him. Followed him midget AAA. I followed him junior, major junior, and then when he got drafted too. So it was a big influence in all I wanted to be in my life.
Yeah, so for sure, it definitely seems like it pushed you to want to compete and to achieve all
Yes.
goals too. Awesome. So you played for different teams in the NHL. You played a lot of years. What would you say might have been the hardest moment you went through, and then how did you bounce back and move forward as a goalie?
By far, my hardest moment was when when I was young. Between probably the age of 20 to the age of 22, 23, like 23. I was trying to make it to the NHL. I had played in the NHL a little bit with the Alfred Whalers. I'd played a little bit with the Calgary Flames, but mostly with the Flames, I was up and down. Minors and NHL minors takes a toll on your confidence. Calgary, which is a good organization, but at the time I think they were struggling with money and stuff like that. So they didn't really have a good development program in the minors. We had one coach for the whole team 1 year, and we had no goalie coach, no defense coach. We only had one coach, and I think it really played a role in my confidence at the time. And my last year with that organization, I ended up losing my last 17, 18 games with the St. John Flames. So it was really hard. At that point I felt really far from the NHL. I felt like I was such a high prospect, and that my career probably would end up being nothing. So it was tough to navigate, but luckily I got traded to Anaheim, and that really changed the way that things went for me.
When you got traded, do you feel like that was like your ticket out to have that dream alive again in a way when you got traded to the other team?
Yeah, I think so. But it gave me the tools. I like to work. I like practicing. I like to put in the work in the gym and stuff like that. So that was never a problem for me. What I needed is guidance. Somebody to help me put my work in and put it in the right direction. And when I got traded to Anaheim, they had Francois Allaire, which is the goalie coach. Nobody had a bigger influence in my career than him. At the end of the day, he ended up coaching me for 13 years in the NHL, 13 out of the 17 I played, and I wouldn't be here talking to you right now if it wasn't for him. So it was a blessing. The minute I met him, well, I hadn't met him in my youth, like going to his hockey school and stuff like that. And I worked with his brother too, my first year in the queue. But by that time, when I was 22, it'd been a long time ago, and my technique was awful. And I really needed like somebody to show me how to work it. The second I went to his house, I always remember I got traded July 1st, and July 2nd, I was at his house doing video. And the second that we started, I already felt more comfortable and confident. So it was really a blessing for me.
So it seems like finding a good mentor, especially for goalies, is super, super important. How can goalies go about finding a mentor that they have like a good chemistry with? What do you think would be some advice you'd give there?
It's hard, so mine was a bit by luck. I knew of Francois, but if I don't get traded to Anaheim, who knows what the other teams have? Maybe it's like Calgary, they don't have anybody to work with you, or the guy that they have there is not compatible with you. So it's hard. I think luckily our days, I think goalies, they work with a lot of different people growing up. There's a lot of young, good goalie coach. And I always tell my young goalies, because I coach my two sons, and I tell them, and like, don't listen to just one person. Go to different school, go to different people, try to get something out of everyone, see who you're more comfortable with. Eventually, when you're older, when you get to 15, 16, 17, you'll know the guy that you prefer, who you like to play, what technique and stuff like that, and who resonates with you the most. But don't, what I mean? So, but I got lucky, honestly. Like, it was a blessing. And the thing about me is I was not, I had a certain talent. Obviously, you can't play in the NHL, not have a talent, but I wasn't a Marty Brodeur, where you have like, crazy talent and stuff like that. So I needed to have a good foundation to my game, a good structure to my game, because I lacked a bit in the talent side. Making a save wasn't as natural as a Patrick or Marty Brodeur. So I had to make sure that my technique was, very perfect, if anything. That, on days that I was not as good or not feeling as much, at least I had something to fall on.
Yeah, for sure. Some guys just have it so naturally, they're so gifted, but other guys,
absolutely. I wish I did.
Yeah, that's it. Other guys, it's they have some natural talent, but it's really the work ethic that puts them over the edge. So
yeah, and work ethic. It's one thing to have work ethic, but you have to do it right.
Yeah,
you can work super hard in practice and you do all, you're 110%, like you just give it all your best. But if you do something 10 times, and all 10 times you do it wrong, you're not going to get any better. So yeah, that's where a good mentor, a good coach is so important, because you're going to do the right thing, you're going to do it right. And luckily I didn't need to be pushed, but sometimes you need to be pushed too. And today you got to give it a little bit more, work a little harder. Some guys need that. Sometimes some guys, that's a bit what they're lacking. Everybody has something that they have to improve, I guess.
For sure. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I have a coach that told me that back in the day, and it stuck with me. He said, Brian, there's a difference between working hard and being effective. And you want to be effective. Yeah. You don't want to just be blindly, wasting all your energy, skating around like crazy all the time. You need to spots, be effective. So for goalie, it's a bit different, but again, being effective is very, very important for goalies as well. Touching on that too, like you're mentioning, like taking some key insights from different coaches, different perspectives and stuff. What would you say are the top things that goalies should focus on, like the top skills maybe that you would say are really, really important for goalies?
Well, stopping the puck. You can do all the things, and what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like I see goalies working on playing the pucks, and I see goalies putting more effort in playing the pucks and stopping the puck.
Yeah.
I mean, playing the puck is a good thing. It's a good skill to have. It's just a tool in your bag, really, at the end of the day. If you
Yeah.
don't make a save, what's the point of always being the best puck mover out there and being like a third defenseman? It doesn't do me any good if you can't stop the puck.
Yeah.
So I tell the kids that I coach is you have to become an expert at making the first saves.
Yeah.
And if you look at all the best goalies that I've played and the guys that I've played against, just take the guys that I played against, like the Patrick Roy, Marty Brodeur, Roberto Luongo, Dominik Hasek. They were virtually impossible to just beat on a straight shot.
Yeah.
If the guy would come down the wing, whatever, and there was just a one-on-one shot or whatever, you couldn't beat them because they were just that good.
Yeah.
And but they they had an extra, like maybe they were more talented than probably me and others, but they also worked at that too. They took pride in making saves in practice. They took pride in being hard to beat. It has to come from you. You know what I mean? So every time I'd try to do that. Every time I'd face Paul Curry or Teemu Selanne in practice, those are the guys I want to stop. I want to make sure that they don't score because that's how I'm gonna get better. So I really, really focus a lot on making the first save.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna, because it doesn't matter what your technique is. Everybody has their own technique. Dominik Hasek, you could not teach that technique to anybody, really. Like he only he had his own way of playing, right? But you couldn't beat him on the straight shot. And that's, that's most of the game is that.
That's a great point. And I feel like a lot of people don't simplify it to that degree. Like if you just focus on making the first save, stopping the puck, coaches will love you for it, as a goalie.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, your goalie coach will give you tools to play the second and third shots and stuff like that. And your natural ability will come into play into that. Like you gotta work on that as well. But it doesn't give you any good if 10, 12% of the shots that you're facing are going in.
Yep.
That's not good enough. You gotta save 95, 96% of those at a very minimum.
Yep, totally agree with you. Now I want to circle back a bit to the mindset piece. And so when you were dealing with adversity, like especially when you were younger in your career, how did you just like move forward and not let that adversity bog you down? Because like for goalies, I see a lot of times like if they let a bad goal in, then like it just tanks. How do you like kind of reset as a goalie and keep moving forward?
First of all, I always like to say is like when I retired at 37, this is when I was at my best mentally.
Yeah.
Like that's when I figured it out, but I was not good enough to keep playing. So unfortunately, but I needed a lot of help in that too. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you need help to get in shape. Like you need a trainer and stuff like that. You need help for your technique and how to play the game and stuff like that. You also need help for your mental game. And I think that's everybody's different. Some guys, their mental game might be 30% of their game. Some guys, it's just 15%. Some guys, it's 50%. But you need to make sure that if you want to go to a high level of playing, you need to seek some answers. You need to work with people that will help you in your game and how to recover when you give a bad goal, when you have a bad week, a bad game, a bad month. I mean, you got to find a way. And it's hard, I think over the time I got some tools, that helped me. Breathing is a very, just letting it all out and thinking about the next goal, or the next shot, not the next goal. Staying positive is the key. Not over analyzing when you give up a goal. You have people there that are going to do that for you. Your coach is going to do that. Your goalie coach.
Yep.
Just focus on your next shot, and then you can go over your goals and your mistakes after the game with your goalie coach.
That's key.
So these are little things, that over the years I realized that you don't want to have too many things that help you. You want to keep it very simple, very positive, and never forget to just have fun because it's a game and it's just hockey. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Like we're not there to save lives. We're there to entertain. We're there to play and enjoy something. It's a game that you fell in love when you were like 3 years old playing. So you got to try to keep that same mentality as you go. And it's hard because, there's the stress and all that stuff. But what's the point if you're not having fun,
100%. You got to remember why you're doing it and know that it's
absolutely.
You're there to have fun, but it is competitive. I can see why people succumb to the pressure sometimes. But I think what you said is really important is that in the game, in the moment, it's not your job to analyze everything. You can do that after the game. Save that for after the game. Really focus in. If you let a bad goal in, breathe, don't think too much about it. Focus on the next task at hand, go forward, and then know after the game you'll be able to talk about with the coach and stuff.
Yeah, because ultimately every goal is a bad goal, if you ask me. And it's not true. Like, I'm not saying that you're bad because you give up a goal, but when reporters would ask me after a game, like, would you like to see this shot again? Well, there's no goals I ever gave that I would not like to see a second time. I would try something different. You know what I mean? Like, you're so at the end of the day, you're just wasting energy, mental energy, on something that you cannot control at that moment. So you got to stay in the moment, stay present, because the next shot might be like 5 seconds away.
Yeah.
You got to really turn around quickly, forget about it, and then if usually, especially when you're pro, obviously you have good people to work with. So that's something that you can do after the game, and something that you learn in minor hockey. You can probably do that now. There's a lot of people that are videoing their game, they're recording their game. There's live barns and stuff like that. You can go see your goalie coach. Listen, bring those videos that you have of you, and see, did I make a mistake there? Is there something I can do? But you can't do that during the game. You got to wait on a practice day.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. You focus on the task at hand in the game, and then after the game, then when you're not emotional anymore or whatever, you objectively analyze it. You say, okay, what can I improve? Don't ruminate on it. Don't get all negative about it. Just look at it objectively. And next day you come in, what you need to improve. You just go from there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Easier said than done, though.
It's easier said than done. It's a lot of trial and error too.
Yeah.
You try something that didn't really work. Like, I still didn't feel good about my goal. And like I say, after all these years I played in the NHL, and all these things I've tried and stuff like that, I was at my best. I felt my last year I played. That's when I felt like I was at mentally the strongest, and I could withstand anything. Even my head coach. But at the end of the day, my I couldn't keep up with the game, so I had to retire.
For sure. One more question on mindset and preparation. So before the game, what would you do? I know goalies all have their different routines and stuff, but what would you do to get yourself in the zone?
Again, it's a lot of trial and errors, and as you go, and in minor hockey and in junior, you try some stuff, and then you bring this into the NHL and stuff like that. And eventually, probably at the age of 26, I dropped everything I was doing. I just restarted, because I had so many things. It was so complicated. Everything I did was like time consuming. It was mentally draining. So I couldn't keep up with that. So I just dropped everything, all my superstition, everything. I was like, I threw everything in the garbage and started fresh. And then I kept it really simple, like super simple. Just, make sure, obviously, in the NHL especially, it's a job. So you got to make sure that you do your job and that you focus on your job. You got to take it seriously. You got to prepare the right way, eat the right things, drink the right things, sleep the right way, and stuff like that. That just comes with the job that you're doing. If you don't want to do that, then you're going to suffer the consequences. And, I probably did a few times in my career. Let's not go there, but like, it's just part of life. But at the end of the day, I think, I kept it loose. I didn't have a problem talking to people on my game day. Like, you see goalies not talking to anybody. I mean, that's just not the right approach. I think the season is just too long, it's too grueling of a season. So, like, you're not gonna talk to anybody for 50 games. That makes no sense. So you gotta just have fun. You look like a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury. Like, the guy is just, he's there, and everybody loves watching him because he has fun playing, and you can see it you see him in the dressing room, and he's talking to people, and he's relaxed. That's what you should want to have for an approach. Try to be as relaxed as possible. And so I tried to do that. I had a routine that I was doing, but the routine was no more than the bus time. So when you come in with the bus, this is when my routine would start. So I didn't have to get to the rink an hour before the bus, and and stuff like that. So I really trimmed it down, but I made sure that I was well warmed up I made sure that I did my visualization, make sure that I saw myself making some save in situations, stuff like that. I made sure that I got into my bubble at some point because you have to. But I felt like at the end of my career, I had a good balance between keeping it loose and being serious enough to be ready for a game.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny you mentioned that too. I went through the exact same thing. Man, I would show up to the rink like an hour and a half before the game. And like in college hockey, that's absurd because we got like the classes and all that stuff. But I was like super dialed into my routine. Then my third year, I was like, you know what? Like this is actually helping me, all these things, just stressing me out more. So I
Yes.
dropped everything too. And I really trimmed it down to like a quick like 10 to 15 warm up, or 10 to
Oh
15.
yeah, no, it's perfect.
And
Yeah.
honestly,
And
like that's all I needed to really get in the zone. For the rest, I just have to loosen. It was way better after that.
Exactly. And the problem too is when you had more stuff, something goes wrong. I don't know, somebody moved your stick.
Yeah, it's the end of the world.
Oh, it's the end of the world. Now you're only thinking about that instead of like focusing on your game.
Yeah,
And being, I mean, like, so your focus is not at the right spot. So, I think it's good to have superstition or a routine, as long as the routine is healthy and the routine is there to help you perform on the ice.
exactly.
Anything else your stick is upside down inside, like on the right, then who cares? That should not bother you mentally. That should not be a problem because wherever your stick is in the room or has no meaning on what you're going to do on the ice.
Yeah,
So,
100.
but you got to make sure that your equipment is right, that you got to, so every game, part of your routine should be coming in and looking at your equipment, make sure that your laces are good, your skate are sharp, and so that's going to make you better on the ice. So you got to, I feel like your routine should be only stuff that makes you better on the ice.
100%. And you know what? It sounds silly, but the amount of people that have the guys I play with that have these crazy superstitions.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yeah.
like how is this helping you? Because
No,
if it goes wrong, then their game just goes down the tank. So
yeah.
it's a great message for players out there. So one last question I got for you is maybe one last piece of advice you'd like to give to younger players out there that we might not have touched on today.
There's so many advice you could give. I think, can I give it to the parents really?
Sure.
Like just let your kids have fun. Like these things I see at the rinks and stuff like that, people losing it at the referee. I mean, come on, people. It's just, especially in the minor hockey, like just let your kids be kids. They're going to make mistakes and accept the fact that they make mistakes. A mistake is just a great opportunity to learn. If you make a mistake, that means we can work on something. If you're perfect, what are you going to work on? Right. So, and there's nobody perfect. Even Connor McDavid is not perfect. So you got to let your kids make mistakes. You got to let them be kids. Sometimes they're not going to feel like going to the rink. That's normal. They're often 9 and 10 years old, and they're not doing a job. So you got to stop comparing them to NHL players and stuff like that. That those guys, that's their livelihood. That's what they do for a living.
Yep.
So and to the kids, I would say just go out there and have fun. Have fun learning. I think have fun trying new stuff, being creative and stuff like that. So I think that's what hockey is all about is first of all, it's a good exercise. It's great for your health, but it's also fun because you can create plays. You can be creative as you play. You know what I mean? So, and to the coaches, I would tell them, let your kids play. I see, I coach a Adam team and I see teams playing the 1-4. Like, what are you doing? Just let your the kids, that just let your kid chase the puck, and go after the puck. You could have a little structure like that you tell them, like, I don't want 3 guys on the puck, but let them just chase the puck. Don't start having crazy, plays that your kids do and they're restricted within that. So, I have advice for everybody, but just at the end of the day, can we just please have fun and have a smile when you go to the rink and whenever you lose, I like to use the tie system. So whenever you put your tie back, it's over. You got to forget about it. Yeah. You got to move on. That means, kids don't wear tie. When you put your hat on or your toque or whatever, or your jacket, you're going home. That's it. It's over. It should be the same for the parents. That's it.
Honestly, that's great advice. And if more parents followed it, I think more kids would be less stressed and have more fun.
More fun, Yeah, absolutely. And I say, somebody's told me before, like the number one ingredient to make a hockey player is passion. right? If the player is passionate about what he's doing, then he'll want to get better. He'll want to play. He'll have fun doing it because that's what he likes to do. But you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot put passion into somebody by putting him on the ice 10 times a week and doing all these schools and stuff like that, especially when it's a kid. It's way too much. Yeah. Way too much. You get it. Passion has to come naturally. The kid will either have it or not. And I'm sorry to say, most of the kids don't have it.
It's true. It's true. It'll come from within, and the kid's going to be the one asking you, "Hey, when's the next time we go to the rink and stuff?" If they really have it, that's
yes. Yes. Then that's when you get a gauge as a parent. Yeah. You know, you want a little bit more. I'm going to give it a little bit more, not twice as much. You get a gauge, all that stuff, and you got to make sure that they're kids and they see their friends and that they have times that they don't touch the ice. You want them to miss it sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think that's a great final message to end it here. JS, I know you're busy. You got a lot of coaching going on. You got some long days coaching that I know. So I won't keep you too long. So thanks so much for your time and coming on the show. We really enjoyed having you here.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, guys, that is a wrap for the interview here. Hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of this. JS is a great sport. He was a great guest to have on. You know, he had a lot of really cool things to say and good things to dive into, some good tips to follow. So hopefully, especially you goalies out there, you know, I know you guys feel a little neglected on the channel sometimes because it's more, you know, player focused and less goalie focused most of the time. Hopefully this makes up for it here and that you guys like this content. If you guys did like this video, take a quick sec to absolutely destroy that like button if you haven't already. It goes a super long way and takes a quick second. Also, to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss another video moving forward. If you had any comments, any questions whatsoever that you want to talk to us about, feel free to drop a comment down below. Or if you want to send us a private email at info@ahadvising.com, we'll send you a response back as soon as we can. All right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video here with JS Giguere. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on that next one.